Badlands, explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily.
It really feels like the cat with the laser pointer. It's like you've led the cat up to the top of the building, and now you're leading it over the edge.
President Trump is rebalancing trade around the world and making things more fair for the American people.
I think that anytime the deep state can like overcapitalize in whatever situation they have, they're going to.
But the rest of it is a very well organized and well funded color revolution operation of the type they run all over the world again and again and again to destabilize entire society.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily. It's Thursday, joined by my brother from another mother of another color, Alpha Warrior. How you doing, man?
Doing good, baby.
Yeah, rocking the X hat.
I am.
You are a corporate shill. I'm just kidding. It's good to see you,
hat, man.
No, it's a pretty cool hat, man. I'm not gonna lie. Do you get that for hitting like 100,000 subs or something?
I wish, bro. I wish. Most of the people are like, I'll follow you, man, but I ain't giving you the sub. Like, I like you, but not that much.
But I don't want to be associated with you. I don't want somebody going through my stuff and being like, you follow the Alpha Warrior XX. No way, man. Can't do that.
Be like, Alpha, grande coffee, $3 a month. Grande coffee. Sorry, bro. And I'm like, I hear you. I hear you.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about paid subs. I'm just talking about followers. That's what I should have said. Followers.
Oh, no, actually, I'm doing good on the followers.
No. But like Rumble gives you the little green stick, and like YouTube gives you.
I'm tracking. No.
So those that don't know, when you hit like 100,000 subs on a lot of these platforms, they give you something so that they could be like, hey, look, we promoted you to get you to the point where you've got 100,000 followers. Good job.
I think that's cool.
I think it's cool, but the algorithms are so like, I don't know, man.
Here's the thing. Are there some like specific individuals that Elon promotes? Absolutely. That's so obvious. But as far as the rest of it, it really is like how much you vest into it when it comes to X. If you're putting out consistent content that's not just replies or requotes, but you're putting out some like decent original content, you'll do good on the algorithm. I this is gonna man, you're gonna make me unpopular first thing.
Well, why? Then let's not go there then.
Yeah, but me, I'm always
I'm gonna go there.
I'm gonna come out and say, I'll put my opinion because I don't work for X, so I can't say that this is the truth or fact. But I think that a lot of people out there saying I'm being shadow banned. No, you're not. Your shit sucks. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. Your shit sucks. And if people can acknowledge, all right, am I putting out some quality stuff? And if the answer that's no, and then you try to, and then you see that, oh man, I'm getting traction here, then you'll do good. I see accounts, some people putting political stuff and nobody's boosting them and they're doing well. And same thing with conspiracy. So, it's not theme. Now, granted, the same way Elon's boosting some people, there are specific people that are targeted and deboosted. Like, I'm not going to pretend that ain't happening. And I'm not going to say it's the bad guys doing it alone either. But
All right.
I think we make excuses for ourselves when it comes to social media and algorithms too.
All right. Well, we went off on a little tangent there, but let's bring ourselves back in. Let's get into our sponsor for the first segment of our show. And I got to admit, I'm doing a disservice to Alpha, but I'm going to go ahead and do this ad read. Fellas, quick question. Is your beard intentional, or is it just happening on your face? If it's dry, crunchy, or doing whatever it wants, that's not rugged, that's neglect. Soft disclosure, beard oil fixes that. A few drops softens the hair, conditions the skin underneath, and takes your beard from chaotic to dialed in. No grease, no overpowering fake scent, just clean ingredients that actually work. And now we've added the upgrade, our new boar bristle beard brush engraved with the Soft Disclosure logo and proudly made in the USA. Real bristles, real control. It distributes the oil evenly, trains the beard, and makes it look like you meant to grow it that way. And here's the move. When you grab a beard oil, you can add the brush for 25% off. Buy the brush by itself, full price. So do it right. Soft Disclosure beard oil and the new boar bristle brush, softdisclosure.com, and level up your beard game. And then we got to be back on the screen. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. You got to do the reads, bro. You must have tried to ask for too much in your contract negotiations.
Or maybe they just don't know that I'm on daily when it's Thursdays.
Oh, we got to get you in the daily ad.
Man. Listen, you're the one from Badlands that has the iconic beard. Like you are. I think you should absolutely be involved in the beard.
Yeah, but here's the problem. My beard has outgrown a beard brush. I have a boar hair bristle brush, and they're fantastic. But when your beard gets this long, you can't. It doesn't get in there and untangle it. So you have to do both.
Yeah, do both.
You start with a brush, and then you finesse it. You polish it. Right, you do the compounding with the comb, and then anyways, we're going way off, guys. Smash that thumbs up if you have not done so already. Let's get into the news.
Well, with the brush though, have you tried where you put the oil on the brush itself?
Yes.
And then that's amazing, man.
Absolutely. Game changer. Softdisclosure.com, promo code Badlands. Guys, this one hurts, man. This one really freaking hurts. James Vanderbeek passed away at 48. Johnny Moxon from Varsity Blues, Dawson's Creek, just a iconic figure, a guy that went on to lead a great life, married. I think he had like 5 kids, Christian man, found God, there's a great message that's floating around of one of his final kind of monologues about his faith and everything else. So he died. I think it was colorectal cancer.
Which one is he?
Number 4. Johnny Mox, bro. You don't know who James Vanderbeek is?
I remember the movie and the character, but I didn't follow him.
Well, the not funny, but the ironic part is that's Paul Walker over his left shoulder, who also is no longer with us, and he was the original quarterback. You never seen Varsity Blues?
I did see Varsity Blues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just didn't know the dude's real name.
Yeah, Johnny
Paul Walker was in that movie.
Yeah, he was the starting quarterback that was going to be like and he was Allie Landry's boyfriend, and then Allie Landry went full not good thing and went for the new starting quarterback, and then goes on to be in Landman, where she's in the same role but as the mother now instead of the daughter that's with the quarterback. So
that movie was a long time ago before you judge me, right? Like,
what's that?
That movie was from a long time ago.
Yeah,
man.
Dude, I was in high school. That was like 2002. That was the big hit when I was in high school. Yep. Like, that was a really popular movie.
There's a lot of young actors that are dying right now, man.
I know. I mean, yeah. James Vanderbeek kind of checked out of Hollywood, though. Like, he was like, this ain't for me, man. He bought a ranch and was like not living off the land, but he was isolated from the Hollywood culture. And yeah. All right, let's jump into our first story of the day from CNBC. House votes to override Trump's Canada tariffs. Now, this is pretty much a meaningless story, right? It doesn't mean much. Still got to go to the Senate. And then after the Senate, it has to be signed into law by President Trump. Like he would have to sign, he could veto this.
The House could veto it.
Yeah, of course. But the House passed a resolution disapproving of President Donald Trump's tariffs against Canada. It cleared the House 219 to 211. Several Republicans crossed the aisle. One Democrat, Jared Golden of Maine, voted against the measure. So you've got, I think it was 6 Republicans that voted against and 1 Democrat that voted or voted for, and then 1 Democrat that voted against. And kind of interesting there. Also interesting that it's from Maine, which is, obviously on the Canadian border. And it's almost like it was a pushback against, Canadian goods flooding Maine's economy. But President Trump took to Truth Social to say any Republican that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time, and that includes primaries. Tariffs have given us economic and national security, and no Republican should be responsible for destroying this privilege. Don Bacon, who is retiring at the end of the term, voted for the anti-tariff resolution, saying that I voted on principle. They were trying to do sweeteners for Nebraska, but I said, what about the other 49 states? I don't think anybody out there believes that Don Bacon took the high road on this. Don Bacon on the Armed Service Committee, and he's the subcommittee chair of, I think it's like the Cyber Innovation Committee. This guy is doing nothing more, in my opinion, he's doing nothing more than moving towards, he's retiring. He's retiring after this term. He's done in Congress, and he's setting himself up for that sweet, lucrative revolving door contract, board membership, lobbyist contract, whatever the case might be. Bacon named to Armed Service Committee will lead the special panel. And let me just make sure I get this right. It's the cyber. Oh, it doesn't even say what panel it is on his press release, but it's the cyber press release. Now, here's an article from Open Secrets back in 2023. And just to show you what I mean, and you guys all know this, President Trump spoke about it in his campaign up to the 2024 election, closing the revolving door of lobbyists, putting some sort of a ban on from private sector work, excuse me, in the same industry that you're in. Listen to this, though. I never realized it was this bad. At least 672 former government officials, military officers, and members of Congress worked as lobbyists, board members, or executives for the top 20 defense companies in 2022. 672 for the top 20. That's almost 34 people per company from former government employment. And these and this isn't like they're going and working on the factory line or they're innovating. No, this is the people that go to DC and the lobbyists that go to DC and try and garner support for a contract or a bill, whatever the case might be. This is the swamp, the corporatocracy, and the fourth pillar. The collusion between government and the defense industry and all industries, to be honest with you. From 2011 through 2022, more than 3/4 of defense sector lobbyists previously worked in the federal government. The defense sector plus Boeing spent more than $38.6 million on federal lobbying during the first quarter of 2023. So if that average continues for the whole quarter, that's over $150 million spent by the defense contractors lobbying Congress and the government in one single year. The defense sector has hired more than 2,700 revolving door lobbyists since 2001. That shit's got to stop.
It's got to stop. It's not just got to stop. It's got to be investigated. But how are you going to cover that whole thing and not mention what I'm going to mention?
Because here's the thing. Hold on.
Folks.
Because I can tell you right now that Massie did it on principle. And Massie's principle is...
Bro.
Listen, you can't... Hold on. I knew you were going to go here. Massie does it on principle. And the bottom line is, it is Congress's constitutional authority to implement tariffs. It's not the president's. Should it be the president's? Yes, I think it has. And I think Donald Trump is making the best case we've ever seen for it being a presidential weapon instead of using the military. That's just the way it is, dude. It is constitutionally, it is delegated. is a constitutionally delegated authority to the Congress. The Congress gave it away in the 60s and 70s and gave it to the president because they're lazy as shit. The Congress cannot just say, hey, we're going to completely subvert the Constitution and do this and give it to the president. That is not how the Constitution is supposed to work. Now, granted, you do have people like Bacon that are doing this purely as a ploy, because if he would, if and Massie will come out and say this, that it's not the president's authority. Bacon doesn't come out and say that. Bacon comes out and says, well, you know, they were trying to sweeten the pot for Nebraska, but what about the other 49 states? Get the bleep out of here. Nobody believes that. Go ahead.
Massie only votes on principle.
Most of the time, yes.
Most of the time.
That I've seen, yeah.
Sound like a Democrat, bro, giving yourself an out. It's either you vote on.
If you're going to compare me to a Democrat for voting on principle, come on.
No, I'm saying I'm comparing you to Democrat with wordplay. When you say most of the time, principle doesn't work on most of the time.
Name when he hasn't voted on principle.
Principle is a definitive. You either are principled or you're not. It's not I'm principled sometimes, because then you're not principled. Then that says, hey, it to my benefit.
So tell me when he hasn't voted on principle.
When he voted for one of the highest debt ceilings ever with McCarthy and Joe Biden.
You're going to rehash this one?
I am.
Where he got the cut that he wanted in there?
He always did the cut play out the way he said it was going to play out? No, it didn't.
Yes, it did. They got what was it, 1.5% cut?
He even said he got played. He even acknowledges that they did him dirty on that one.
We'd have to rehash this in a long form.
But the point I'm trying to make is even if you said why negotiated a different outcome, then you're still not principled. You're not. It's like me saying, and I'll use myself as an example because it's a real example. It's like me saying, I'm going to stand for truth. I'm going to trial. I'm going to stand for truth. I'm going to trial. I'm going to stand for truth. I'm going to trial. And I say that for 4 years. And the patriot community says, hey, we're going to help provide for you, for your defense, because you're standing on principle. You're standing on your conviction. And at the last second, they offer me a sweetheart deal. And I'm like, God, listen, I'm on principle, folks, but I'm guaranteed not to do time if I take this deal. So I'm going to take this deal. And then I go, and then they say, well, you're going to do a little bit of time, but I didn't get all this time. And I say, well, it didn't work out the way it worked. Or let's just say I don't get time. I don't get to say at that point, hey, I fought on principle. No, you didn't. Because at the moment when it counted, you conceded to something that was a benefit, or you conceded that something that went against your principle. When Massie says that, hey, I'm against spending, and that's my principle, and if his track record is 100%, that 100%, not 99.9, 100%, then he gets to say he's principled, and I shut up. But when he shows that there was a time where he conceded it, he is not principled after that. He's not. He's a politician. We've hashed. Go ahead. Yeah, we've hashed. He did it here. How in the world can anybody tell me that voting against tariffs, which Trump is showing that it works, that's America first? Because he says, I'm the America first guy. I vote with Congress 91% of or with Trump 91% of the time, which he doesn't. That is a false statistic. But aside from that, even if it was 91% of the time, yeah, the 9% of the time you don't is the major things that Trump needs to push his agenda. The dude's a clown.
By going against the Constitution.
That's
the point Massie's always made.
Okay. Then why didn't he go against the Constitution on everything else that's out there? Like raising the debt ceiling.
Where's the Constitution and the debt ceiling?
Well, if we're raising the debt ceiling, we're sending money to places that our Constitution didn't tell us to send money to. So yeah, the raising the debt ceiling itself.
Hold on. That's not the way the Constitution works. If it's not specifically enumerated in the Constitution, then federal law can.
Does our Constitution allow our Congress to amend it and make new laws?
Yes, absolutely.
Did they make a law and amend that the president can then do tariffs?
No.
So what Trump's doing is illegal.
Yes.
Prove it.
I just did. I just did. You don't make laws to amend the Constitution. There's a process to amend the Constitution. 2/3. Then you have to have three-fourths have to.
So explain to me, so I understand this, how Trump doing tariffs is illegal. Break it down for me.
All right, hold on. Now you go ahead and keep opining here.
Because you just said a little while ago that Congress got lazy and they passed off that power to the president. And so you're saying they did that through an illegal process.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So What was that illegal process that they did?
Hold on. You're putting me on. Well, let's debate this on SitRep because I can't debate. The Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, outlines tariffs as a direct responsibility of Congress. Now, again, I will concede that it should not be that way. President Trump is proving that the president should have the power of the tariff. He has the authority to sanction. A sanction is no different than a tariff. A sanction is a dramatically escalated tariff, right? It's the same concept. A tariff is something that's beneficial to the United States. And, maybe back when our founding fathers, before we had airplanes, before we had the internet, cell phones, and everything else like that, it was a more thought out process on whether or not you're going to tariff another country. Trade wasn't nearly as global as it is today. And the United States wasn't being raked over the coals by every other country in the world because we have the biggest market. So I am with you 100% that there should be a constitutional amendment and give the authority of the tariff to the president. Congress did that through law, but law does not subvert the Constitution. The Constitution is the law of the land. It every single time it trumps the federal law. Anything Congress can do. So if Congress wants to change that, they have to have a 2/3 vote. 3/4 of the states have to ratify it, and it becomes an amendment to the Constitution. But until that, Thomas Massie is correct. He might not be correct in terms of like the benefit factor, but the Constitution says what the Constitution says.
So why didn't he go and fight this in all the other years that he was a congressman? Why is he fighting it now with President Trump?
Because no president has ever done tariffs the way that President
I'm not just talking tariffs. According to what you're saying, that means the amount of things that our government can do is about this big. Because there's only a few amendments. It's either it is or it isn't. We don't have 200 amendments in our Constitution.
No, we have 26.
Yeah, that's why I said a very limited amount of powers that our government has.
Well, hold on. That's not entirely true because there are actually amendments in the articles of our Constitution that are amended. It's not just the amendments, that's to the Bill of Rights, but there are actual amendments. Like if you read the Constitution original versus the way it appears today, you'll read through Article 1 and you'll have like a strike through where they amended that section of the Constitution. So
how many branches of government do we have?
3. Well, 4. I consider the corporates.
And the president is the highest authority in all those. Everybody thinks
co-equal branches.
I disagree with you.
Yes, it's co-equal branches.
I disagree with you. That's what everybody wants to think. The president is the most powerful person in our government. He has the ability to. The president could come
never supposed to be that way. We have co-equal branches of government. That's why there's checks and balances. That's why the only way you can impeach.
They've always tried. They've manipulated that process to make us think that way, so they can keep this circle jerk going on. The president is the highest authority in our country. Yes, he is.
No, he's not. He's not supposed to be.
Answer me this: does President Trump have the authority right now, if he wanted to come out and federalize the elections? Not the state elections, but our federal elections. Can he come out and say, "Hey, you know what? We're going to do same day voting. We're going to do paper ballots. And we're going to do voter ID." Yes, he does have. Yes, he does.
Article 1, Section 4. He does not.
Yes, he does.
Alpha, we got to take this to SitRep because we could literally sit here the whole show and debate this. But
it's important. It's an important thing.
Brian, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I've got the Constitution on my side. I agree with Alpha for the most part. But the Constitution, you can either be principled or not principled. I'm the principled one here. I'm the one that's telling you we have co-equal branches of government. The president of the United States was never meant to have the power that he has had for the last 50 years.
I'm not disagreeing that the branches themselves are equal in power. What I'm saying is the presidential position in of itself is the most powerful position in government.
Okay, we got to move on, dude. We'll talk about it tonight.
One last thing about Massie. Does he use the Constitution to manipulate things so he can do bad things?
You're going to put me on the spot about a single congressman out of 435?
I absolutely am, because he's one of 6 that voted against President Trump's tariffs, and he's one that voted no on the House rule where they brought up the SAVE Act.
Yep, and then he voted for the SAVE Act.
Yeah. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, his no vote on the rule portion would have been the deciding vote. What would have happened to the SAVE Act? Would have gone to the floor.
The SAVE Act's dead, bro. This is going to be one of the biggest exposés in Congress.
However it plays out, I'm trying to make a point on this. Is if his no vote would have counted it, like it would have made the difference, would the SAVE Act made itself to the floor?
I don't know.
No, it wouldn't have. It would have got kicked back, and then who knows what happens to it.
I mean, the SAVE Act has already passed the House before.
What I'm saying, well, right now with all the arguments being made, that the only honest answer is if his no vote would have mattered, the SAVE Act would have got kicked back, and then they could have went back to manipulating it. Maybe it passes, maybe it doesn't. But everybody keeps saying, well, it was just, he voted no on the rule. He said a vote for SAVE, yeah. But if his no vote would have mattered, the SAVE Act wouldn't have went to the floor. So yeah, he still voted against it. On top of that, you can tell that there were deals being made where they didn't really believe he was still going to vote yes on the SAVE Act, because when they actually came to the official vote, there was one vote that was different when they actually voted on the rule. You had one Democrat that actually voted yes. So that means if Massie would have voted no, I'm talking about the SAVE Act now, not the rule of it, then it wouldn't have mattered at that point. But if that Democrat would have voted no with him and Massie would have voted no, he actually would have stopped the SAVE Act. So, and that's speculation, who knows? But at the end of the day, that's not even the point I'm trying to make when I say that he manipulates the Constitution. Everybody says Massie wants to name names when it comes to the Epstein files. He wants to name names. Him and Rokana, they came out together. We're going to name names, but we're going to do it when we get into Congress. And a lot of people aren't talking about why, and I am. The reason being is, and you know this because I've heard you talk about it, when they go in there, he's protected by the speech and debate clause. Absolute immunity. They can go in there and say whatever the hell they want. That means no defamation, nobody's suing them civilly or criminally to go into discovery or anything like that. So what that tells me is this isn't about the victims. This is absolutely about an agenda to subvert President Trump, and Massie's a part of it. Because if he truly believed that the 6 names that he went in there for 2 hours with Rokana actually mattered, he would have came out in that press conference and said, hey, here are the names that we found. But he knows he knows a lot of that information is probably bullshit and not true. And that if he would have said it there, then he's open for civil lawsuit and defamation, because those people can come out and say, hey, bro, that ain't the case. I don't care if my name's listed in there. I didn't do anything wrong. But he can make that implication.
The names.
What's that?
He did come out and name the names. He named Les Wexner, and then Rokana named all 6 of them.
Inside Congress.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make. He did it where he's protected by the speech and debate clause. Because you can come in there and you can make up any lie you want. You can't be sued. He has immunity. So what I'm saying is, why didn't him and Rokana say those names during the press conference? Because I mean, and I'm not lying. So for those that don't know, Massie actually came out and said, after I said it, he came out and he said it. There's a video clip out there where he says, well, in there I'm protected by the speech and debate clause. So that means he already knows what I'm saying is the truth. Because if he would have came out in the press conference and said, hey, here are the 6 names, right? Funny, because he used to say it was 20 names he had. But if here's the 6 names, then I would have said, hey, you know what? He must, whatever he saw, it must have been so convincing that he believes that this is true, so that if any of these people come out and sue him, he's got the evidence and factual information to support it. He didn't do that. And he didn't do that because he knows that there's a likelihood some of that stuff is bullshit. And he's feeding into this narrative and this agenda to weaponize Epstein against President Trump. Massie is not America first. Oh, but Alpha, he doesn't get any money from AIPAC. I would say go and relook at some of the shell companies on that.
I feel like we need to get his primary opponent on for the campaign spot that Alpha just did right here. We got to get into news, man. We can discuss this on Sit Rep tonight. We got to get into news.
All right. Well, this is news.
This isn't just like a 30-minute anti-Massie.
This is not anti-Massie.
It is.
It's that's like, I mean, you're kind of pro Massie, but what my thing is
a principled person. Yes.
I don't
as
think
far as a congressperson goes.
I don't think he's principled. He replaced his wife of 30 years after 14 months. Imagine what he'd do to the country if the country.
Well, I mean, it's also, I'd still like to know how she died in the first place. That's still something that's, I don't know. All right. Moving on, jumping here. We got a jobs report because the government shut down. So we got a late jobs report. Great numbers for President Trump. U.S. economy added 130 jobs in January, according to a delayed report. Now, the best thing about this is where the jobs are coming from. So let's get into this. Employers added 130,000 jobs, above the expectations of economists who thought that they would only add about 70,000 jobs. The unemployment rate was 4.3% with expectations of 4.4%. It did revise down a couple of the past months. November was revised down 15,000 jobs to 41,000. And December was revised down 2,000 jobs to 4,800 for a grand total of 17,000 jobs revised downwards, Keck. Government payroll. This is the big one. Government payroll declined 42,000 jobs. Since Trump has taken office, government payrolls have declined 327,000 jobs. Let's frickin' go. That is huge. The manufacturing sector added 5,000 jobs in January, beating expectations of an estimated loss of 5,000. So that's a 10,000 job swing in manufacturing. They thought he was going to lose 5,000 jobs. He actually gained 5,000 manufacturing jobs. And this plays directly into those tariffs. This plays back into the re-onshoring. We're starting to see, maybe slowly, but we're starting to see some of the benefits of those tariffs, those reciprocal tariffs, as he likes to call them. Healthcare companies added 82,000 jobs. Construction firms added 33,000 jobs. And the financial sector shed 22,000 jobs, with half of those coming from insurance carriers and related activities. And I will always cheer on the insurance company getting their butts kicked. Let's go to this clip here. Well, do you want to comment on the jobs report first before we get into
interesting? I'll see if I can find that. It was a Citizen article, but still, I thought it was pretty interesting. From all those, it was like 300,000 plus government jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no, what's that?
327,000.
Yeah, 327,000. Essentially, what she was writing is she couldn't find any evidence or markers that a lot of these jobs went into the parallel version of that in the civilian sector. And so essentially the short and skinny of the article was this 327,000 people that were laid off, or was a percentage of this, virtual paycheck numbers? It was pretty interesting, bro.
Mm-hmm. Think of all the, this is part of the Doge expose we had when they went through and they're like, yo, we're sending out emails to all these federal employees to respond and tell us what they do and everything. And we've got thousands and thousands and thousands that are just not responding at all, as if they're non-existent. Now, I'm sure, I would imagine you probably have to do some sort of knock and confirm to ensure that they're not real bodies. But either way, that's a good point. How many of these 327,000? And if there's 327,000 people that don't exist or more on federal employed, salaries and stuff, where is that money going? Who is that money going to? Where are their donations, their political contributions and donations going to? How much of that is, because we're capped. I think this year we can donate $3,500 to per candidate. How much of that is going out? Are these people making huge donations to campaigns and whatnot? Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that, man.
It's they've been stealing from us so bad.
Oh, dude. You know what? Let's segue. Well, let me play this clip here. CNN actually having to give Trump some accolades here. But then the point you just made, I shared an article this morning from Zero Hedge. That is one of the best articles I've ever read. And everybody should read this article. But first, let's get the word from CNN, who has to basically say, hey, Trump's actually doing pretty good on this.
This is a hot jobs report. There's really nothing in this not to like. You're seeing a lot of sectors that had been softer, like manufacturing, for example, looking better. You're seeing numbers that really nobody expected. And, that's one of the things actually that I find quite interesting about this report. The consensus was unusually all over the place. There were a lot of different banks, a lot of different analysts that watch these numbers. Oftentimes they have roughly the same idea of what's going to happen. That was not true this time. And I think it speaks to the fact that we are in a very unusual moment. So I guess my one caveat, I'll give you two caveats to the very good news in this report, is that I would want to see another one, maybe a third, with similar kind of upward trend before I say, wow, yeah, we have a labor market that is in fact not softening. It's getting stronger.
Now wait till you see this part here. Now, first, It's like they do a split screen with the host, and she's not supposed to be on screen, and you can just see her like disgust. But then watch how they flip this.
The other thing I would say, though, is even though this is great news on Main Street, Wall Street likes it, it does make the incoming Fed chair, Kevin Warsh's job a little tougher, because it's hard to argue now.
You read my mind. That was my next
for a
question.
rate cut. Yeah. I mean, it's a really, really tricky thing, because if he had seen a kind of even a flat jobs number, he probably could have continued to argue, well, you know, we might.
Okay, so they're going to say the jobs report's going up, the jobs numbers going up. We don't need an inflation. We don't need a rates cut. I don't know that host's name, but you can just see she's got the resting you know what face. He cuts to her and she's just like, ugh.
Yeah, big time, man.
They hate it. They hate it.
That's if Warsh actually makes it all the way through.
Yeah, that's another great point right there. I don't know if he's going to make it through after that stuff came out, but all right, let's so I'm going to read this article. Is going to be a lot of reading. Stop me at any time if you want to comment on something, Alpha, but this article is fantastic from Zero Hedge, The Sovereign Man. When government subsidies stopped, Doritos got 15% cheaper. And this is something I have said on this show numerous times as we're talking about the SNAP benefits, the audits of SNAP, the Somali fraud in Minnesota, the fraud that's now getting exposed in California. And I always bring it back to the pharmacy benefits manager and CMS, Medicare and Medicaid. So check this out. Last week, after HHS Secretary RFK Jr. got 18 states to ban SNAP purchases to cut products of soda products like soda, candy, and processed snacks, PepsiCo announced price cuts of up to 15% on Doritos, Lay's, Tostitos, and other Frito-Lay's products. The company's official explanation was affordability. However, CEO Ramon Laguarta said low-income consumers are switching to store brands. Why? Because store brands are cheaper. The SNAP program is a $100 billion per year program serving roughly 42 million Americans. About 20 cents of every SNAP dollar goes to sweetened beverages, candy, salty snacks, and sugar. Soft drinks alone are the single largest category of SNAP purchases. So when the government stopped subsidizing the demand for their products, PepsiCo had to do something that they hadn't needed to do in years: compete. This is what the free market does. It forces companies to be more efficient, to cut prices, and to pass savings on to their customers. Zoom out, and you can see how much of price inflation in our daily lives is due directly to government spending before we even get into monetary policy like printing money. When a guaranteed buyer shows up with a bottomless wallet, prices go up. Just look at college tuition. In 1965, Congress passed the Higher Education Act and began backing student loans with federal dollars. Since then, tuition has risen roughly 3 times faster than inflation. A year at a private university cost $2,800 in 1963. Now it costs over $85,000. For every dollar increase in subsidized student loans, tuition rose up to 60 cents. Healthcare is even worse. Before Medicare and Medicaid were created in 1965, the government share of healthcare spending was about 31%. Today, it's roughly 64%. Medical spending alone has grown from $13 billion in 1975 to $900 billion today. And SNAP and CMS go hand in hand. Healthcare go hand in hand. Got news for you folks. You keep eating those sugary shit foods that they're buying on these SNAP benefits, and you're going to get obese. And there's a reason that SNAP recipients are more obese than other Americans. On average, of course, there's always going to be exceptions to that rule. Healthcare prices have risen dramatically over the same period. The U.S. now spends nearly $5 trillion per year on healthcare, far more than any other developed country per capita. Federal spending's risen from about 18% of GDP in the 90s to nearly 24% today. A quarter of the entire American economy is government money. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, has publicly estimated that 10% of the federal budget roughly $600 billion per year is lost to outright fraud. I think it's going to be much higher than that when push comes to shove. I think you're looking probably closer to 20, 25%. Then there's the legal graft or grift. California alone received roughly $100 billion in federal grants over the past few years for DEI initiatives that produce nothing except more government jobs and campaign contributions. Now imagine what would happen if the government stopped subsidizing entire industries. The defense contractors billing $10,000 for a toilet seat, the universities charging $85,000 for a degree in gender studies, and the healthcare system where nobody can tell you what anything costs. We might finally find out how much of this economy is real. And that, frankly, is what makes it so hard to fix, because so many people's livelihoods now depend on the government gravy train. The federal government borrows $2 trillion per year to keep it all going. Interest already exceeds $1 trillion annually, more than the entire military budget. And it's growing faster than any other line item. If the government responds by printing money to cover the gap, inflation gets worse. And it makes sense to have a plan B that doesn't depend on Washington finding fiscal discipline before the math catches up with them. And I like to think of that plan B as Bitcoin. Plan Bitcoin. Just call it that. Hedge against inflation. Although right now it's not, but it will. It'll come back. Dude, that article was so good, man. So good.
The ripple effect from the subsidies. I mean, just everything comes back to us, like our bank accounts, like everything, man. Everything. You know what? That didn't work out the way we did. So let's do this. That's going to make it worse. And then you're just going to continue to pay for it. And then, oh, since we did that, we really made it bad. So now we got to do this. And then it just keeps going on and on and on. At some point, you got to cut the umbilical cord from some subsidies. And I mean, look at it. I mean, yeah, it's Doritos, but it's not Doritos alone. You know, those other companies, that it mentioned. But imagine what it looks like when the market's actually competing without influence.
That's why when you were asking about how many branches of government are there, right? I said 4, because there are 4 branches of government right now. And to be honest with you, you could probably expand that number out to 5, 6, 7, or 8. You've got, obviously the executive, legislative, and judicial, constitutionally ordained. But then beyond that, you've got the corporations, you've got the media, you've got, each industrial complex, medical, defense, all of them, agriculture. They all have their own, say in our government and what they do. And until we get away from that, they're going to dictate pricing. And the government is going to say, well, for the betterment of our society, right, the general welfare of our nation, this is the general welfare clause of the Constitution, which Madison has argued is not the way it's being interpreted over the last, century or so. They're just going to continue. The government's going to say, okay, well, fine by us. We're going to keep lobbying. We're going to keep getting our dinners and our trips and our vacations and everything else, and probably money under the table. And we're going to keep giving you guys these subsidies. And the Trump administration is one of the first ones that has actually done something about it. They all talk about it. We need to cut welfare and we need to get welfare under control and everything else. Well, until you do all those things, we are not going to reap the benefits of it, because there's no competition in the free market, right? Until that competition returns, we are going to be the ones that get smacked down every time they pass another welfare subsidy. Every time they increase the SNAP money, it's literally not just taking money out of your pockets physically and literally through the taxes, but it's also doing it through, the inflated rates that we're paying for all of our common goods.
You know what else helps that?
What's that?
Tariffs.
Absolutely. Do not confuse, and we'll get into this tonight. Do not confuse me saying that the tariffs are a bad thing. The tariffs are the best thing that's happened economically to this country in a long, long time. Yeah. Dude, I'm with you 100%. The tariff, the increase that we're seeing, the deficit reduction that we're seeing from tariffs is fantastic. There's no questioning that.
Yeah.
It's still unconstitutional.
Could you imagine anybody trying to go against that and stop it?
Wait till you see the Supreme Court. I don't know what the Supreme Court's going to decide, but I'm really hoping. I'm hoping that the Supreme Court does side with President Trump on this and we get some clarity. But duties, taxes, and imports and excise are Article 1, Section 8, man. They're congressional. So hopefully Congress, the Supreme Court, I mean, I don't know what they could do. It's going to be interesting. All right, let's get into the SAVE Act, because
he wants to poke me in the eye with a pencil.
Who? Me?
Yes. You just
I mean, I gave you 30 minutes to start the show. You made your point. You made your point. Bill Malhusian, breaking. House passes the SAVE Act 218 to 213. Every Republican present voted yes. The only Democrat to vote yes was Representative Cuellar, which interestingly, I think he's in one of those border kind of swing states or whatever, swing districts rather. Wasn't Cuellar the one that benefited from like a redistricting that like took two districts and put them together?
I think so. Yes.
I think that was him. And they had like that nurse woman that won for the GOP in a special election. Maybe that's Cuellar. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But here's Una Panuna Banca talking about the SAVE Act.
Congresswoman, you have been trying to shoehorn the SAVE Act into just about every piece of legislation south of a Mother's Day resolution. And we just got word from Senate Majority Leader John Thune that he is not going to force Democrats to stand up and do a talking filibuster. What does that say about his leadership in the Senate?
I think that it's very disturbing that he is not listening to not just what the Republican voting base wants, but America in general. This act, voter ID, is one of the biggest bipartisan issues, I think, from banning insider trading that we've seen in a while. And yet you have both John Thune and Chuck Schumer agreeing on this issue that they don't want to put it on the floor, which is very odd. I think that if you're going to depend on President Trump's coattails to get elected to office, if you are going to say that you're a Republican, and then if you are going to turn around and complain that I'm bullying you in the House for wanting to pass the SAVE Act, which is common sense legislation, very low-hanging fruit and the right thing to do, then maybe you should consider getting a different job.
I agree, 1000%. That was my rant. All right, obligatory buckwheat. That was my rant, last week and on my show, that, just make them do the talking filibuster. The filibuster right now, as it sits, me and Ash talked about this yesterday, is a joke. All you have to do is posture that you're going to filibuster, and they're like, okay, don't twist my arm, and they're like, okay, it's so stupid, man. Like, make them get up there and go back to, who was it that had the longest filibuster in history? I'm trying to remember who it was, but anyways.
Oh, you actually told us about this when we talked about this a few months ago. Because I remember I was like, damn, like that's a lot.
Strom Thurmond. I was gonna say Strom Thurmond too, and I was like, wait, he has a really controversial. Strom Thurmond had the longest. Well, no, actually now it's Cory Booker now that broke it. 25 hours. Strom Thurmond was 24 hours, 18 minutes. Cory Booker broke it 25 hours and 5 minutes in protest against the second presidency of Donald Trump and the Doge operations.
He went 25 hours.
The longest multi-speaker filibuster lasted 60 days.
Cory Booker went 25 hours?
Yeah, I remember that. Like,
I remember it being long. I just didn't remember that. You know what? Hey, dude's a POS, but I'll give it to him. Bill
Meyer in the Texas Senate, so state legislature, filibustered for 43 hours.
I would have passed out.
But that's the thing. Like, if you're going to bring this bill in the Senate, and I hope they do,
make them work for it. I agree.
Make them work for it, man. Don't do this shit where you're like, hey, we're gonna filibuster, and they're like, no, daddy, no, and and they're no, don't do that shit. And John Thune is just a feckless. This is the winner's dilemma. This is the winner's dilemma. I can't remember who coined that term. I just read it recently, and I can't remember who coined that term. But this is the winner's dilemma. They don't want the SAVE Act passed. Even though 84%, 85% of Americans agree with it, they don't want it passed. And they've got their talking heads. I'll let you
jump. They lose their jobs.
Yes. Well, that's the winner's dilemma, is they're not really winners if they pass it. But before I play this next clip, because it's a little bit long, but Scott Jennings, CNN, absolutely kills it. I'll let you if you have anything else you want to add.
To get rid of the filibuster. Get rid of it. It forces us to save this country or lose it.
So I'm with you, and here's the reason I'm with you is because I think the 60 vote supermajority is unconstitutional itself. Like, you should be able to pass these with a simple majority, and then if the president vetoes it, then you have to have a supermajority, a 60 vote to break the veto. I think you're right on that point that it's the filibuster itself is not a constitutionally permitted.
It's a dangerous move, and I completely understand that. But if we don't do it, then this cycle never ends. So we need to get rid of it and let the cards fall where they fall, at the end of that.
Now, I don't know your position on this back, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 4 years ago, but Democrats have been trying to do this forever. And they've never been able to get it across because the Republicans are always the one like, no, the filibuster is the safeguard. It's the guardrail of the Constitution. Well, our Congress has proven with this bill right here. And, I don't remember specifically I think it was actually H.R. 1 that they tried to get rid of the filibuster over, which H.R. 1 is a ridiculous expansion of election integrity damning like bills, like universal mail-in balloting was one of them. What were there was a ton in HR 1. They've tried to pass it twice now. But that I think that was what they originally were like, let's nuke the filibuster to get this through. If we nuke the filibuster here for something that did not have 83%, HR 1 did not have 83% not bipartisan support amongst American citizens. This one does. And, you're seeing every single freaking Democrat voting against it. You're seeing several Republicans saying, I'm not going to vote for it. And that's exactly why they benefit from it. Now, doing away with the filibuster will never happen because these are the same people. John Thune is not just all of a sudden going to be like, well, I'm not going to make them do a talking filibuster. I'm just going to get rid of it completely. He ain't got the spine for that, man. But
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but they got to figure out a way to do it. If it forces us to secure the elections. That's the way I see it. And without the government's hand being forced to secure the elections, this cycle just never ends. To answer your question, would I've been against it or for it, back when the Democrats were pushing. I wasn't into politics then, but I imagine had I been into it, I would have been completely against it because I would have looked at it like, well, no, they're going to abuse this process, because the people in government, look at who we're voting for. The only reason I'm for nuking the filibuster right now is because I know that our elections are completely compromised and that the only way we get people into government that wouldn't weaponize the absence of a filibuster is to have people that are actually voted for by the people. And we don't get that without, free and fair elections, which you and Ash always talk about. And to me, if you nuke the filibuster, that if the Democrats take power, it is game over for America. Game over. That's what makes it so dangerous. But it's only dangerous if you don't fix the elections.
Yep. Well, I mean, I agree. It's a shitty predicament, but I blame a lot of it on the brainwashing that takes place in the media because the partisanship in our country, and obviously George Washington was avidly against this. He warned us against it in his farewell speech about political parties and how they're going to create these factions. And this is the case in point. It is the media who is complicit with this, right? I'm going to play this clip here from Abby Phillips and Scott Jennings on CNN. And keep in mind that just last week, CNN was the one that was saying 83% of Americans support the SAVE Act. So check this clip out.
He is actually championing a bill that actually would take voting rights away from a lot of Black people in this country.
Wait, what voting rights is he taking away from Black voters?
Oh, if we look at
the SAVE Act?
The SAVE Act, that's exactly what we're talking about. That is actually going to continue to disenfranchise overwhelmingly a lot of people of color. There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise Black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called it Jim Crow 2.0.
So,
this is the same president. If we want to continue...
You haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's the way that you're putting new poll taxes on this when you're making people have... That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you
poll taxes, we can call getting an ID now is a poll tax, ladies and gentlemen. Poll tax. I'm going to use that when I go. Well, it doesn't happen to me anymore, but I should have used that when I went to go buy beer. And they're like, can I see your ID? Nope, that's a poll tax. When you try and board an airplane, can I see your ID? Nope, that's a poll tax. When you do anything in life and they're like, can I see your ID?
Want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID. The reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people and making it harder for people to vote in this country. And it's going to disenfranchise Black voters.
Concern you that you're making all these claims? You've yet to lay out how it's hurting anyone, but 76% of Black voters think we should show an ID to vote. 80% of Hispanic voters, 83% of the American people. Are you saying that Black voters
the
are
SAVE
too
Act
dumb to know
just,
what's good for them? I mean,
it sounds pretty,
condescending to me.
The SAVE Act is not
three-quarters of Black voters
who
want voter ID.
Just to be clear, the SAVE Act is not just about ideas. The SAVE Act is about
proof
of citizenship.
So what?
So it doesn't. I actually.
It also makes it very hard for married women who.
I was just going to say we talked about this before.
By the way,
it's not. It actually. There's an argument to be made that red state voters, women. Poor white voters could be just as.
I know you think they're dumb too, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean that's the thing. I hear these arguments. I've heard Democrats all week long.
No, please don't. No. You listen.
There's a deflection from talking about Donald Trump's racism.
I'm actually
right there.
You should be thinking about your constituents or your.
Yeah, I think they're smart enough to figure out how to register to vote.
Hold on. Most Americans don't have a passport. Many Americans don't have access to their birth certificate. Many women, a majority of.
Do you have a social security card? Because that's a pretty important thing. But
women who change their names for marriage have to provide additional proof that they've changed their legal names in order to register to vote.
I have heard Democrats
Scott, why don't you actually respond to the substance of what I'm saying?
I am, and
as opposed to making this about something that it's
you know what
not.
he should have did? You know what he should have did? He should have asked her, "Do you have an ID with your name on it?" And then if she would have said yes, was it difficult to get? And then she has to tell the truth, yes or no. And she says, no, it was difficult. Explain to me the process that made it difficult.
I had to go and sit at the DMV for 4 hours.
Oh, so it was inconvenient. It was inconvenient, but not difficult.
There you go. Big difference there.
100%. Dude, I like this guy.
Scott Jennings is great. He's the voice of reason on CNN. It's not done yet, though. We're going to get into the racist part more than we already did.
Saying married women,
also about
Black voters, and rural people are too stupid to figure out how to register to vote.
No, that's not
what she said.
Let me offer the proof. Let me offer the proof.
Are you saying they can't figure out how to vote?
This is the exact same argument.
It is a fact that a majority of Americans do not have passports. Many Americans, including white people, do not have their original birth certificate or access.
You didn't say what you said. Rural.
I would love to offer the proof of this.
Yeah, because that is also relevant. It doesn't matter to me where people live.
I guess I have a little more faith in
do they have
rural
access?
America and married women than you.
I don't know why you think why you're making this about whether you're smart or not.
You're saying that they can't vote, that they can't figure out how to document to register to vote?
Access to documentation of proof of where you were born or proof of citizenship is an additional thing that people
because at one point Black people actually weren't even allowed.
It's a barrier.
It is.
Now, keep in mind, just last week, CNN's Harry Enton was like 76% of Black people want voter ID. 83% of the whole population wants voter ID. But it's totally racist because Black people can't get a license and married women can't prove their maiden name.
I like how they weren't bringing up license. They're bringing up passport. Most Americans don't have a passport because they're not trying to leave the country.
Yeah.
You only need a passport if you're going to leave the country.
Most Americans have either a passport, a birth certificate, or a social security card. All three of those would be just fine. Just fine. And if you're a married woman, you have your marriage license. You have, you can go get that easily. You can go get a new birth certificate easily, whatever the case might be. This is, but this is how out of touch. And this is what I was referring to earlier, the fourth branch of government. The media goes out there and says this. The lefties are going to watch Abby Phillips and whoever those, well, I saw Anna Navarro. I don't know who the other two people were. They're going to watch them and they're going to say, yeah, that's right. It's racist and nobody can get IDs and this is a poll tax and all this other bullshit. Meanwhile, they have no idea how bad the voter rolls actually are. And that the SAVE Act is nothing more than, it's not even a Band-Aid. You know, the SAVE Act is like when you get a little boo-boo and you're like, can you kiss it and make it better? We know that that's not going to do anything to make it better, but it makes them feel like it's doing something to make it better. That's the best analogy for the SAVE Act. It is kissing a cut or a bruise and saying it's all better now.
They hate this country.
They really do. They really effing do. And that's probably why. Let's get into this article here just briefly. From the Daily Mail, CNN has lost nearly 2/3 of its viewership since 2016 amid growing fears that the network is circling the drain. Good riddance. Primetime viewers over the past decade have decreased from roughly 1.3 million in 2016. God, it's hard to think that 2016 was a decade ago. To 553,000. The network's daytime lineup has seen a similar decline with Wolf Blitzer. So that, yeah, the first number there, 1.3 to 553, that is primetime television. That's, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. or whatever it is. The network's daytime lineup, which is supposed to be like the nonpartisan news, right? Not the talking head pundits like we just saw, but the news. That dropped from 752,000 down to 433,000. When compared with the same part of the year in 2021, the drops were even more pronounced. 71% of their primetime audience and 73% of their daytime audience has dropped off. They are literally circling the drain. And of course, they blame the poor showing on audience consuming news through alternative means. That's you guys. That's all the people. I mean, granted, I don't think you guys would be watching CNN if you weren't watching here, but that's you guys. That's the people that are watching podcasts and watching, alternative, quote unquote, media, quote unquote, alternative media, I should say. So yeah, good riddance, CNN.
Yeah, I'm for it. And I agree with you on that. Alt media, a large portion of alt media is this rebranded mainstream media.
It's rebranded. I mean, this show right here, we rebrand mainstream media for the most part, but I always try and go deeper, and either show contradictions or comparisons. And that
but I meant it more in terms of like the Mockingbird media putting its assets into alt media to look like it's alt media, but it's not.
Yeah. We try and stick with the facts of the case and get away from the opinions that are embedded in most of these articles. Or if we do get into the opinions, we make fun of them and how retarded they are, because 9 times out of 10 they are. But yeah, here's a Washington Post. I thought that I'm just going to play this because this is downright hilarious. These guys tried to protest them getting fired, which you're going to see just a minute and a half of just sheer self-entitlement, and then watch what happens when they try and get into the building.
To do a thing right now to show the management that they can't trample our rights and they can't just roll us over.
Trampling your rights. Washington Post laid people off because it was an underperforming, underwhelming, drowning newspaper. They laid people off, and it's infringing on their rights. You now have a right to work for the Washington Post, apparently.
They weren't getting that guide money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. It's not lost on me, the cuts. We talked about this, I think, on Monday. USAID gets cut, and all of a sudden Washington Post is like, hey, we can't make payroll anymore. Shocking.
It's someone's scary day, but because everyone's here to demonstrate our collective power, we're going to be doing this together. Our plan is to walk into the building and show our right to work. Management has locked us out, and let us show them they can't just do it. Let's go.
They just did it. Denied.
Take it in.
Denied. Ooh, nice mask, lady. Full face. They're all going there. I just want to make a meme like in ultra fast mode of all of them trying to swipe their card, and Washington Post saying, you don't work here anymore. You don't have a right to work at a private company, even if they are funded by USAID. But yeah. I love to see it, man. You want to know what the next step, Alpha? You brought up USAID. You want to know what the next step in really trying to expose how bought and paid for our mainstream media is? You know what the next big step that HHS needs to take?
What's that?
Cutting the ability for pharmaceutical companies to advertise. We just went with the most favored nation, right? The next step, cutting advertisement for big pharma.
You'll annihilate all the nighttime mainstream media.
Yes, you would destroy it. All right,
I think it's hilarious. I don't know how many you. I still watch some of the mainstream stuff to see what they're trending towards in their narratives. So I watch it for that, not to gain knowledge, but for that. And I'm like, man, the pharmaceuticals have to be taking a hit because they do their ads. And remember at the end, like they do the real small font at the bottom, or not all these opinions are supported. Like it was a real brief one. Now a quarter of the commercial, this is not an exaggeration, bro. A quarter of the commercial, which is at the end, is some people have reported side effects of diarrhea, constipation, high blood pressure, dizziness, faint, abdominal cramps. And they're going through all these side effects. By the time they're done with like 90 seconds of side effects, I'm like, who the hell's listening saying, yeah, I'm going to give that a shot? Like, fuck that.
Dude, the guy, they're like, man, I was just trying to get my leg to stop twitching. And now I got all these side effects.
It's when you guys have a chance, go listen to like the ending of some of these ads. And it's I was like, man, like, well, you guys don't want to make sales. And then I remembered, they have to. They have to do that now. I was like, well played, RFK.
It's the only industry that advertises to a customer base that cannot directly buy their product. There's no other industry that advertises to American citizens that an American can go and buy it. And they're like, no, you can't buy it. You have to have approval for your doctor first. Well, then why aren't you advertising to my doctor directly? And why are you advertising to me so that I go into my doctor and say, hey, I saw this commercial and this might work. And the doctor's like, oh, well, they were in here last week and they gave us a $20,000 cruise package for our whole staff. And yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to prescribe this to you. It's disgusting. But that's actually a good segue to our ad here. And if you guys want to kind of break the chains and get away from some of that pharmaceutical stuff, you might want to pay attention to this. When was the last time you woke up actually feeling rested or got through the day without feeling totally stressed out? Yeah, over 50% of adults say that they'd get better sleep they'd feel better if they got better sleep, and more sleep and less stress is often the biggest barrier. Got to get rid of that stress, man. Like just Goose Faraba, right? Goose Faraba. When Alpha's coming on and he's going to talk. No, just kidding. That's why CBD from CB Distillery makes so much sense. CB Distillery has natural solutions for sleep and stress that can help break that vicious stress sleep cycle. And everything from CB Distillery is premium quality, third-party tested, and free from artificial dyes or fillers. They're the source that I have trusted since I first saw them. And 2 million other companies, happy customers do as well. You can shop by benefit, whether you want better sleep, less stress, improved focus, pain relief after workouts, or even something for your pets. It's all right there. I take the gummies and the tinctures every single day. So if you're ready to start sleeping better, stressing less, and just feeling good again, check out CBD from CB Distillery. Visit cbdistillery.com and use promo code Badlands for 25% off. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code Badlands. cbdistillery.com. Specific product availability depends on individual state regulations. And see, I only have to read one sentence for my little disclaimer. Unlike those other companies that it's like side effects may include a little nausea, vomiting, and a little. Yeah, I only have to do one.
The disclaimer for soft disclosure is some of the side effects that are being reported to me right now from men is hot chicks all over you.
Is that like a low key soft disclosure ad right there?
Yeah, it was.
All right, so let's get into this next one. I don't know if you guys talked about the Karel Dimitrov posts over the last couple of days on
not the one that he did. I think it was last night that he did it, as a matter of fact, or during the day.
Well, we've got a few. So let's start with this one. All right. Karel Dimitrov, who is the special envoy? Yeah, special envoy to Vladimir Putin, Russian, has posted a couple things, and let's go through them real quick. Are we now clearer on the satanic, well-connected, and ubiquitous Epstein cabal that President Putin and President Trump are fighting? This cabal lectured the world on democracy and best practices. Truth will set you free. The vampire ball is ending. Save the children. And this is a reference to this post here from Vladimir Putin, and it's in Russian with captions, so I'll read it. They are used to, for centuries, for stuffing their belly with human flesh and their pockets with money, but they need to understand that the vampire's ball is coming to an end. Okay, that was Putin back in, I have it fact checked here, so we'll get into that. But BRICS puts this out. Russia's Karel Dimitrov says U.S. President Trump has, quote, been fighting the satanic wing of the liberal West. And then this was his most recent post right here. In response to newly released files show that Donald Trump contacted police in 2006 to report Epstein's disturbing behavior. And there we go. Alpha, I'll let you get the first word because this is much more in your wheelhouse.
One, I think this is an absolute, hat tip number 1,000 towards the sovereign alliance, that Badlands talks about a lot. I think if the most powerful takeaway is this is definitely evidence of that. Some of the runner-up, priorities to it then is, you have the Russian envoy that's posting a picture of Trump that says, "Do it, Q." We're not talking about like a podcaster, or we're talking about a government official from, one of the top 3 powers of the world. And this guy is posting the picture of the president of another superpower as Q and referencing, like the storm. I know people don't want to admit it, but it's there. You can't say, here's the argument that Q is not real. That's done. That has been put to bed. You can make the argument, is it a good guy operation or a bad guy operation? I can see that argument still happening. But if you're someone who, the way that if you zoom out and look at the big picture of the entire geopolitical window, and I'm talking about the people that have been trying to, tell us, oh, it's this crowd or it's just that crowd. They want to say that Russia is a good guy, and I do think that Russia is a good guy. But these people that have been trying to rug pull Trump are saying that Russia's a good guy. And now you have Russia coming out, one of their members of government coming out and saying, hey, do it, Q, and the storm's coming. So you put those people in a bad position because now it's either they got to flip and say Russia's bad, or they got to just ignore the fact that Karel Dmitry is saying, do it, Q. And I just think it's glorious.
Let's go back to what Putin said there, that the West has been filling their bellies with human flesh and their pockets with our money.
The human flesh part is...
So check this out. So I fact checked the video, and I was using Grok to make sure that it's not like overdubbed or anything like that, And it says, yes, the video is real. Putin said that the vampire ball line in March of 2024 about ending Western exploitation. So this is a summary. If you read up above, it basically says that Putin was talking metaphorically about, exploiting labor and everything else in Africa and everything else. I don't know about that, man. He says filling their bellies with human flesh and then lining their pockets with money, with our money, and lining our pockets with money. And you can't be speaking metaphorically. You wouldn't speak metaphorically, and then the very next line, a conjunction, which is the metaphor in its real terms. So you wouldn't say, in other words, filling your belly with human flesh, which is symbolic, metaphor for taking their money, and then the very next line you say, and taking their money. You wouldn't say so. So take the metaphor out. Putin says they're filling their stomach with their money and they're taking their money and putting it in their pockets. That doesn't make sense. And so is there like actual insight in that statement is my question. And then, love her, like her or not, Lauren Boebert also going all in on her. What's that?
Love her.
I don't, but that's not for anything having to do with what she does on Congress. Really? Are you serious right now?
Play the clip, man.
Are you enamoring over the clip or specifically over her?
Does it matter?
This seems that it wasn't only the trafficking of young girls, as the narrative suggests, but there are code words that suggest Jeffrey Epstein and his associates could maybe even be engaging in some sort of consumption. Is that human consumption? Are there code words? There's a lot of talk of beef jerky. There's a restaurant called The Cannibal where the owner is listed in some of these documents. Now, that isn't a restaurant that is just proclaiming to serve human meat by any means. But some of this just, it seems that there's a lot of conspiracies that make you wonder. And I saw more emails about torture, and these coded conversations still have a very clear topic that torture was big. It was a big driver for them. And these were sick people doing very, very sick things. As you mentioned, there are many women who are involved in this. You have folks that were working directly for Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Right. And a lot of these women are the ones that are sending emails saying, here's one 10 years old, 11 years old, 9 years old. And it's just very disturbing to see the women who are involved in this as well.
Woo! That is, what's that?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. Did you see? I can't remember who it was. So we had the nasty, that press, the hearing yesterday, with Pam Bondi. Did you watch any of it?
I did.
I mean, it was atrocious. That might have been the worst one that I've seen so far. And neither side walked away from that victorious. No, bro. Did you watch the whole thing?
I did not watch.
I watched. You saw?
No. I watched.
Engineered for you.
No. I watched more than the clips. But to say that there's not victories made away, like
there were some victories, but I'm saying generally the whole thing was a shit show from both sides here.
Well, it's all of them are like, but in that shit show, you got to take wins. You know what I mean? You got to win rounds. And one of the rounds was pretty awesome against your boy Massie.
Well, if you want to play that clip, you can bring it up, but I'm going to give you a very strict 30 seconds after so it doesn't turn into another campaign ad, because we're not getting the I don't know who's running against him, but we're not getting any funding.
Ed, Navy SEAL,
campaign ads.
Legit. Ed, a Navy SEAL, legit veteran, family man, married.
Navy SEALs.
Mm. Yeah.
CIA. CIA.
I mean, no more than Massie. Just saying.
True. This, I think, was the best part right here. This, and I'll tell you why. Let me play this and see if you catch this.
On that topic. We want to lead the way in the space on that, so we appreciate the help.
By the way, I should say this is Andy Biggs adding a bunch of stuff by unanimous consent to the record.
And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back 10 seconds.
Gentleman yields back. We'll recognize the gentleman from Arizona for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of UCs.
Gentleman can proceed.
Thank you. Bombshell new docs show Trump called police about Epstein in 2006.
Objection.
True.
Kamala Harris defends Biden administration decision not to release Epstein files.
Objection.
Why weren't they released during the Biden administration?
Objection.
House Democrat Stacey Plaskett exchanged texts with Epstein during 2019 congressional hearing.
Objection.
New York judge allows Epstein victims' claims against Plaskett to proceed.
Objection.
Hakeem Jeffries solicited funding from Epstein in 2013 after financier was convicted child sex offender.
Objection.
Jeffrey Epstein was invited to dim fundraising dinner and to get to know Hakeem Jeffries by firm working with Brooklyn's Barack.
Objection.
An email from Leslie Groff to Jeffrey Epstein concerning Hakeem Jeffries fundraising. Epstein file says Biden was replaced in 2019, question mark.
Without objection.
Thank you.
So do you see what Andy Biggs did there? I think this is what's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it's only a matter of time before they catch on. Did you see what he did there?
I'm not tracking.
Okay. Remember what President Trump did last week with the Obamas and his election fraud video?
All right.
He put that, well, I don't know if he specifically put it in there, but it turned into this. They put this election video out there. You got that 1 second at the end where it's like racist Trump, right? Everybody's got to play the build up to it. What was the original video? Let's see the election fraud front and center now. Andy Biggs, what was the last thing Andy Biggs put on the record from unanimous consent?
The Hakeem Jeffries.
No. Let me play it again.
To Jeffrey Epstein concerning Hakeem Jeffries fundraising. Epstein file says Biden was replaced in 2019, question mark.
Without objection.
Epstein file says Biden was replaced in 2019, question mark. That was a tip. Unvetted, unsourced. You ever work a tip line? You get the craziest shit. I get emails all the time. Hillary Clinton is actually a lizard and living in a prison and whatever. And hey, maybe it's true, but just telling me that and posting like real raw news or something like that, that's not going to do me any good. I think that eventually, hopefully soon, somebody in the left picks up on the fact that Andy Biggs just added to the record an anonymous tip that was submitted to the FBI that Joe Biden was actually murdered in 2019 and for the last 6 years has been a masked actor. May or may not be true. May or may not be true. I've seen the arguments and there is some compelling evidence against that. Who was it that showed? Was it you that showed the skin tag or the tag on his ear?
Mm-mm.
Is that you or that might have been Zach? Showed the picture where his ear just, whatever the case might be. But when the left picks up on that's what Andy Biggs put in, they're also going to have to go back and show that Hakeem Jeffries was requesting meetings with him, that was taking money from him. Why didn't the Democrats bring any of this stuff up during the last 4 years? Everything that he entered in there. Trump called the police in 2006. I mean, Trump was an informant in it. I think Andy Biggs did that deliberately. Maybe, maybe not. So we'll see if the Democrats pick up on it or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe because a lot of a good portion of those were some mic drops. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. You do mic drop, and then you have a far out there conspiracy theory, and they got to latch onto it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just my 2 cents. We'll see. We'll see if it happens.
I just like that Massie got exposed as a hypocrite.
Yeah. Well, I still don't see a clip down there. You can pull the clip up if you want.
Okay.
We've already had the Massie has never mentioned the Epstein files ever before, but Alpha doesn't seem to understand that Massie is the controlled oppo right now.
Doing a terrible job at it if he is.
He's doing a fantastic job at it. He's got MAGA like you freaking out over it, talking about it.
I'm not freaking out over it.
Oh, bro, you just went on a 30-minute rant when we're doing daily news.
Yeah, to make sure my people don't get propagandized by it.
Oh, so you're going for a rant. The Smith Munt works both ways, dude. All right, check out this clip because this is going to lead to Ilhan Omar making a veiled threat against the president.
So you're going to still go after the whole waste, fraud, and
Well, I
abuse
am
issue.
in Minnesota. Take a look at Minnesota. So we think it's at least $19 billion of fraud, medical, every fraud. Somalia has come in here. What they've done to our country, these people, they've come into our country, and what they've done with that fake congresswoman, she's so bad. No, we're going to get to the bottom of it.
So you're going to.
All right. So that's the clip that Ilhan shares out. Oh, do I not have the post anymore? Oh no, what am I doing? It's right there. So here's the response from Ilhan. The leader of the Pedophile Protection Party is trying to deflect attention from his name being all over the Epstein files. At least in Somalia, they execute pedophiles, not elect them. Veiled threat. Veiled threat. Are you focused on here? What are you doing? Let's go.
I'm getting the clip for you. It's just the one I had was too long, so I'm trying to find the short one for you. Keep going though. I'm listening.
All right.
But I mean, the post wasn't wrong. Just
we called this one on Monday, I believe. We called this one Jesse Van Root-Salar, 18, ID'd as transgender ex-student from Tumblr Ridge mass shooting. This was in Canada. He killed 6 people and 8 people total. He killed his mother and his stepbrother. How freaking deranged do you have to be? That's like some Adam Lanza shit right there. Killed his mom and his stepdad to steal their guns. Goes down to a school and shoots a bunch of people. Sick. And the media the first day came out and it's like the shooter was wearing women's clothing or something along those lines. Immediately it's like, all right, here we go. Another transgender act of violence. And that's all there really is on that story. There's nothing new. He had a rifle and a modified handgun. That's the only news that we've gotten in terms of updates from that story. What do we do about that, man? Like, what was the one in Tennessee? The one in in Georgia? Wasn't there the one that was transitioning in Georgia that shot up a club? Was that in Georgia or was that Colorado?
I don't remember one in Georgia.
Dude, now you're gonna make me question it.
You have the theater. You have the theater in Florida. You have the club the theater in Colorado. You have the club. You have the club in Florida.
But that was just a gay club, though. I don't think that shooter was trans. That was Pulse nightclub in Orlando.
That was
like in 2017 or 18.
That wasn't a trans?
I don't think so.
I gotta look him up.
No, the one I'm thinking of was a guy that was like identified, uses she, her pronouns or whatever the case might be. But anyways, the bottom line is like, we've talked about this ad nauseum on this show. These drugs that they're giving to these people that are trying to transition and everything else like this, your body simply does not know how to process. If you're a man and you produce testosterone, you don't know how to process estrogen the way that a female who's accustomed to it for her whole life. And it's especially bad the other way if you're transitioning to a male and you don't know how to process testosterone. Men spend their entire lives learning how to process testosterone. We fight, we compete, we are, alpha male dominance, all of those things. That is how your body physiologically and psychologically, you're conditioning yourself how to deal with this. And until this is addressed, these acts of violence, they're just going to continue on, man.
I'd arm every American. No concealed carries, no permits, no licensing. Second Amendment. Everybody has a gun, and watch how quick all the mass shootings stop.
An armed society is a polite society. I agree with that.
It is, man. It's. I mean, we've had this conversation, before, but the only thing that firearms laws impact is law-abiding citizens. Like it just how do you not realize that? Like let everybody carry guns. No age requirement.
Whoa.
Anybody want to carry a gun? Anybody want to carry a gun?
That's the one that kind of gets me right there.
Why?
The age requirement.
Well, here
you want like 6-year-olds walking around with a gun?
You know what? Have you seen videos of 6-year-olds that are freaking playing more targets than adults?
I'm not talking about their physical capabilities. I'm talking about their mental capabilities. There's a reason that we have legal guardianship.
Because if we have things like that, you force parents to parent.
Man,
that's a parent's decision, right?
Okay.
Whether they're going to buy their kid a firearm or give them a firearm or let them carry a firearm, that's a parent's decision.
So people are saying in the chat, I had guns when I was a kid. So did I, but that doesn't mean I could carry it everywhere I went. I had a 22, that kind of stuff, but I couldn't carry it wherever I go. What are the parents liable if the kid commits a crime with the gun, or is the kid liable?
Civilly, people are liable, but
criminally.
No, I absolutely. You can't hold other people responsible for other people's actions.
So if a 6-year-old is carrying a gun and murders another 6-year-old because he stole his ice cream, the parents aren't liable for that, because the parents are ultimately the one that gave him the gun.
Not criminally, civilly.
So does the 6-year-old go to prison for murder? I don't know, man. That's a tough one for me.
The 6-year-old wouldn't go to prison for murder because I'm trying to remember. There's an age for when you understand crimes versus not crimes, and that age varies. But here's the thing: is those are extreme examples that could happen. But if people realize that they can be civilly liable, then people are going to make responsible decisions, and they're not going to. Here's the thing: if a 6-year-old that shouldn't have a gun, the issue is not the 6-year-old with the gun. The issue is how the 6-year-old get the gun and why the 6-year-old continue to maintain the gun. And those are issues that, the extreme scenario you brought up doesn't address, because in reality, here's the thing that goes into something else, because, can there be a criminal charge against the parents? Well, let's say a situation where the reason that 6-year-old had the gun and the 6-year-old shot themselves or shot their sibling was because both parents were high. Well, then you do have a crime there, and it's neglect and child abuse that happened because those parents weren't taking care of the child, and you can arrest those parents for that. But let's say it's a situation where, like you said, the extreme one where the 6-year-old has a gun and gets in a fight with the kid at the park over ice cream and does it. Well, that's a civil liability against the parents. And then the more those lawsuits start to happen, then society corrects itself, not the government.
So, okay. So where does the criminal liability lie in that situation? And you can say again what you just said. Is a 6-year-old criminally liable for that?
No, they don't have the age yet to understand the.
But they have the age to understand that carrying a firearm on their person. That's my point. You can't. They're not mentally. They don't have the mental conditioning yet to understand the implications and the consequences of their actions. That is why a parent is the legal guardian until they're 18. Now, is 18 a little bit old? Yeah, I think by the time kids are maybe 15, 16, maybe even younger than that, they're starting to understand consequences for actions and that kind of thing. But I'm with you that you should absolutely be allowed to own a gun, but carrying it around, that's the parent's job. You're supposed to be tasked with the safety of your children. So I think you're going a little bit off the deep end there, and that's coming from a Second Amendment absolutist. I think you should be able to own nuclear weapons. So there you go.
My question though is, does the Second Amendment give you an age stipulation?
No, it doesn't. The right to bear arms.
So, are you an absolutist or not?
I am an absolutist. It also says it's necessary a well-regulated militia. You're going to get a 6-year-old in a militia?
There are circumstances where that may be the case. We've been to countries where that's the case.
It's like the Patriot with the kids, aim small, miss small.
We've both been to countries where that's the case.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if remember that constitutional argument you brought up with Massie? Either you are or you're not.
Yeah.
Just saying. And I get it, but again, it's society is the one that needs to correct society. And that's why we have the civil lawsuits. The second you allow everything to be remedied by criminal, that's when the government's going to create the criminal issue so they can continue to regulate everything through criminal threat. And the only way we prevent that is if we're going to go back to the Constitution as a foundation, then the Constitution is a foundation, and there is no age requirement on the Second Amendment. It's an absolute.
Is there anything in the Constitution that comes with an age requirement? I don't think there is. Other than running for elected office, there's requirements to be in Congress, Senate, and the president. I don't think anything else in the Constitution comes with an age.
There's nothing I can think of. No,
there isn't. So, Interesting. All right, before we move on, let's go ahead and hit a next sponsor, and we're crushing it today on the pushback against Big Pharma. If you or someone you love struggles with blood sugar and A1C, you need to hear this. It's well known the expensive meds and the popular shots have dangerous side effects. Well, Creators Bounty have developed the perfect alternative, an herbal supplement called Elohetrium. Elohetrium is 100% natural formula, proven to dramatically lower your blood sugar and A1C. It uses 7 healthy ingredients, no stimulants, no junk. These 7 ingredients would cost you over $150 if you bought them all separately. But the best part is there are no bad side effects, only good ones. We're talking blood, sugar cravings gone, inflammation reduced, and stable energy all day with 0 crashes. Seriously, most people are getting better results than they did on the harsh meds, but without the risk. Elohetrium is made in the USA at an FDA-registered facility, fully tested, and is backed by a no questions asked 90-day money-back guarantee. The friendly folks at Creators Bounty offer fast and free shipping 5 days a week from Oklahoma. Head on over to creatorsbounty.com/rumble and take advantage of this special offer today. And the folks over at Elohetrium, pretty badass, man. They sent me a letter, personalized letter a week ago, and I was really impressed by it. They telling me about the company and everything else, and a real good company. So I would definitely check them out if you're considering, maybe you need the shots. Try the alternative first, because those things, like Alpha said, just a 30-second clip of all the side effects. So there we go. The next story I want to jump into, and this will probably be, well, actually, no, before we get into this story, this will probably be our last segment. But dude, this new thing coming out about Kurt Cobain. Have you seen all this shit? Kurt Cobain's death was a homicide. Shocking new forensic investigation questions suicide ruling. Like, really? This is one of the conspiracy theories that we're going to get to say we're right on again. Like, anybody with half a brain looked at the Kurt Cobain murder, quote unquote suicide, and was like, Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself. You're telling me the guy was like heroined out with like 10 times the dosage that a normal heroin addict would have, and 3 times the legal dose, and he was able to write a letter, record whatever it was that he recorded, and then shoot himself with this long ass shotgun somehow. Well, now they've gone back and they're looking at the autopsy and everything else, and they're finding out that the whole thing was complete and utter bullshit. He had signs that he died from, not from like the gunshot, but from actually suffocation, and all this other stuff. He probably overdosed first, and then the gunshot was secondary to, hide that and conceal that. So, yeah.
Dude, how many that one, dude, that's going to open the door for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Listen, once you go and show one is not what you're told, dude, the floodgates, they're just,
yeah,
it's all going to come. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. Absolutely.
So Maggravators nailed it right there. His wife at the time, I think they were on the fritz, wanted the music rights for Nirvana, and if he died, or if they got divorced, she loses everything. But if he dies while they're still married, she gets everything. And I'm not saying she did or she didn't, but dang. I'd be very nervous right now if I was Courtney Love. I would be very, very nervous if they reopen that case.
How old is she now? She shouldn't be that old.
55.
Yeah.
She's got to be like up there. I'll look it up. Hold on. Because he died in what, 93?
Yeah, I was in high school.
Courtney Love is 61.
Oh, wow.
61. She had, what was the song? Dun dun dun. Oh, make me over. Dun dun dun. What was her band's name? Hole? I think it was Hole.
I don't remember.
I think it was Hole. Yeah, she is not a very attractive woman. But anyways, the bottom line is, and the chat's already on it, Chris Cornell, bring that one back up. Chester Bennington, bring that one back up. I mean, just Michael Jackson.
So, all right, I can say this. It's been a couple years.
Oh, man.
So, I do have to be careful, though. A particular assignment that I was working put me in contact with a very high level security personnel at a very popular arena, and this person had a long standing relationship with MJ. They showed me pictures. I mean, the guy was historically a part of, I don't want to say which one so bad, but I don't think I can. But anyways, what he told me, the point of the story was that MJ always had 2 doctors with him. And when he's telling me this, by the time and at this point, I'm red pilled. This was probably 2021. Yeah, I think it's 2021 when this is being communicated to me. And he tells me, he goes, I've never heard any of the media or any of these documentaries, mention that, Michael Jackson had 2 doctors. Like he always had, like everybody knew he always had 2 doctors with him. Now, one of them was definitely the lead. But the way he's describing this other doctor, I was like, bro, he's describing a handler. And he used to talk about how that particular doctor would give Michael Jackson, some of these drugs, because Michael Jackson did do drugs, that would give him some of this stuff. He goes, in the following days when all those news things broke out, man, ain't nobody knew where that dude was. You know what I mean? And it's just like he wasn't saying it, but he was saying it. You know what I mean? So just saying.
Michael Jackson. Who else? Prince, another one.
Did Elvis die of a heart attack?
Elvis. I mean, damn. I mean, I understand.
Whitney Houston and her daughter.
Did what?
Whitney Houston and her daughter.
Yeah.
The exact same way, bro. The exact same way. They both die, mom and daughter, years apart. Like, come on.
Matthew Perry just died. I mean, and there's all sorts of conspiracy theories around this,
Oh, we can't leave out freaking Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, another one. Yeah.
So that was another one that was just kind of like, huh?
And so have you ever seen Josie and the Pussycats?
The
movie, not the TV show. So in the movie, the concept is that they basically create a boy band, right? But it's women in this case, but they had a boy band before that. And the boy band, instant, like NSYNC level popularity and all that stuff. And then one day they're flying on the plane and they have a handler, and you see the handler, they're flying on the plane, and they come up to him and they're like, hey, we caught this weird track on our music and we wanted to know if you knew anything about it. And they put the headphones on him and it's like, buy this and, do this, and like subliminal messaging in the music. And he's like, oh, I'll look into that. Hold on. And gives him the headphones back. He goes in the cockpit. He says, like operation, whatever. They press the button, they eject, they jump out of the plane, and the plane crashes and they all die. Leonard Skinner style. Right now, it's a joke, but is it a joke? Like once you get to that point, whether it's Bennington and Chris Cornell, what they were allegedly working on with child trafficking and speaking out against all that stuff, you just go down the line, and once these people, they run the course, they're no longer necessary and relevant, you get rid of them. And you can't, the amount of secrets that I think we're going to find out these people actually know, the only way to get rid of them is to make them disappear forever. And
here's something I'll share from, this is firsthand knowledge. This is something I witnessed. In 2020, this actually might've been 2021 too. Somebody can go look it up. Billie Eilish, it was the first time she got accepted to the Women's Top 100 Billboards Awards. And they were doing this, I forget which place it was, but it was out in Southern California. I want to say it was in Hollywood somewhere. But I get tasked, as the canine operator to go out there. And so, we get access to like everywhere, like us and the head of security, because you just have to have that level of access. And so I'm doing the silver bullet trailers, the Airstreams or whatever they're called, the real expensive ones. And I used to like to get there early to run through them before the artists were there. That way I didn't have to work around them and stuff. And so I'm going, well, she's already there. You know, like she was there early and she's in there and she's singing and she's doing her thing. And I'm like, oh, I'll just come back when you're out. She's like, no, go ahead. And so, I run Una through there. And I remember I didn't know her name, but I knew the song that she was practicing and in her trailer, because it's like, oh, I've heard my little ones. I've seen that before. Anyways, complete sweetheart, bro. Complete innocent sweetheart. Like I was just like, you could just see it just complete and just an innocent young girl. Now we fast forward to about 2020, late 23. Yeah, late 23, because I don't think I was doing it early 24. So probably late 23, maybe early 24. I'm working one of the events at the Forum in Inglewood, and it's her. And I have another run-in with her. Bro, I didn't even think it was
totally different.
I didn't even think it was the same person. The look she gave me, dude, and this is just my opinion, folks. I felt like a demon was looking at me. Like the whole time I'm in there with my dog, and she's just like looking at me like this. Dude, it was creepy, bro. And I'm just like, what the hell happened to this kid?
Yeah,
man. It was a trip, man. It was a trip.
There's no question, like what you were pointing out with Michael Jackson. There's no question that these people are medicated, and influenced and pushed in certain directions, handled, so to speak. And you got her, when she was fresh, and then after, time had gone on and she'd gotten into the industry. And you could say it's hardened, because once you become that famous, you're dealing with people on a daily basis who are not
she was still a child.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You get hardened by it, dude. And the influence, and you have to go along to get along. These people, a lot of these people don't genuinely believe the things that they say, but they say them because if they don't, they're cast out. And casting out can mean James Vanderbeek casting out, where you go and live in the country with your family and have a beautiful Christian family, or it could mean the cast out where you take too many pills one day and you wake up on the floor with a shotgun in your mouth like Kurt Cobain. Who knows?
I got some wild stories I can share with you guys.
Well, put some out for sit rep tonight. We'll talk about some of those stories. But this kind of leads me into this right here. Jill Zarin. I have no idea who Jill Zarin is. Apparently she's one of the OG Desperate Housewives from Desperate Housewives New York City. But she's been fired now over her comments after racist Bad Bunny tirade. Racist Bad Bunny tirade. Let's just read this real quick and then we'll play the clip. Jill Zarin, an OG cast member of Real Housewives, has been fired from the reunion series, The Golden Life, because of recent public comments. On Super Bowl Sunday, after Bad Bunny's halftime show, Zarin saw fit to go on a rant on Instagram. The blowback. Now, before I play the rant, this is the blowback. The Bravosphere has risen up as one against Zarin's remarks, calling Real Housewives Orange County cast member Tamara Judge, who said that, what the actual fuck? Real Housewives of Dubai star Chanel Ayan tweeting, I had to unfollow. Disgusting, with a vomit emoji. Oh no, the vomit emoji. Margaret Joseph of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. How many fucking housewives are there? Like, ladies, you guys watch this shit? Like, people actually watch this shit? Are you that not you guys, not our listeners. I don't think anybody in our audience listens to this, but I'm speaking broadly. Are you people that fucked up in your lives that you watch this? Like other people? That's so bad. Again, not our audience. I think, and if you do watch it, maybe it's because you think it's incredibly funny. But Real Housewives of New Jersey, I'm horrified, disgusted, and disappointed. But that's my feeling every day. But elated by the NFL and Bad Bunny's beautiful representation of America. You ready for the video, dude?
Send it.
Here we go. This is the racist tirade against Bad Bunny.
I said it before that it was the worst halftime show ever. And it's 250 years that we're celebrating right now in the United States. And I just don't think it was appropriate to have it in Spanish. And quite frankly, I didn't need to see him grabbing his, G area. I think it was totally inappropriate. You've got all these young kids watching the Super Bowl, and he doesn't have to be grabbing himself every 5 seconds. Is he so insecure? Seriously, I didn't understand it. I don't speak Spanish. I would have liked to have known the words he was saying. To me, it looked like a political statement because there were literally no white people in the entire thing. I think it was a political statement, and I'm not taking a side one way or the other. I just do. I think it was an ICE thing. And I just think that the NFL sold out, and it's very sad because this was 75 years. And, shame. And Lady Gaga got a facelift. I didn't recognize her. I literally had to Google her face to see who it was because we all couldn't agree who it was. So that was kind of fun in the middle of halftime. At least it gave me something to do because it was so hard to watch.
What was racist there?
Nothing. I don't speak Spanish. I wish it was in English. That's not racist.
That's not racist. That's fact. We live in a country that is an English dominant country, and not one single word in that halftime show.
Well,
there were no white people in it. That's fact. There were no.
It's not just an English dominant language. It's defined. English is the American language.
Well, now by executive order. Before Trump did that, it wasn't. Unfortunately.
But right now, English is the American language.
Let's go. Codify that, Congress. And then just one last story along the same lines here.
Real quick on that, though.
Yeah.
I agree. I didn't recognize that as Lady Gaga.
My wife did. I didn't watch it. I was watching the TP USA, but I remember hearing her because I was on my cell phone, and Jessica Alba was there apparently as well.
I didn't
my
see
wife
her.
kept going like, is that Jessica Alba? And then I looked it up later, and it was.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. I couldn't care less, bro. That whole thing, like all this stuff is coming out now. They injected crowd cheers and everything else into it. It's all just nonsense now.
It was the worst Super Bowl ever.
It was everything about that Super Bowl sucked, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
and to her point, to defend her, is statistically she's also accurate. It was down 39% from last year's Super Bowl, and the viewership for the halftime show left by 67%. Now, who knows where people went? You look at the TPUSA event, the numbers there speak for itself. But it's documented that it was down 39% the halftime show from last year. And during halftime, 67% of the viewership went somewhere else. That's just facts, according to their reporting.
I don't know, man. There's just so much. We talked about this briefly yesterday because like Nielsen is reporting that 4 million more people watch Bad Bunny, but Samba TV is reporting that there was a 30% drop. I don't know. It's all just absolute and utter nonsense. Polls, we know polls are fake and gay. We know that they can manipulate you in any way. So unless you're sourcing how you're arriving at these numbers, I don't know one way or the other what to make of any of it. All I know is what that woman said is spot on. And the woman that said this is a representation of America, it's not. It is not a representation of America. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. If you go to another country, if you went to Russia and you're like, oh, we got to have a German halftime show because we have a small German population here, they'd kick you out. And well, that's because Russia is a Russia first. And that's what we want. We want we want American culture, and American culture revolves around English, period.
She just didn't finish her sentence. This is a representation of what we want America to look like.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem. And the worst part of it is Bad Bunny is like a big time, what do they call it? The independence movement. Like he's big time in the independence movement. So you're literally propping up somebody that is representative of America while he's saying leave America. Telling Puerto Rico
he pushes trans, bro. He's sick.
It's disgusting, man.
And you're showing a street scene with an EBT. Like, you want to say that EBT represents America? Get the fuck out of here. That represents a part of hardship that we don't want, and that you guys are trying to do scandals through. The entire thing was political. And you have at the very end, when Bad Bunny's doing the exit, they take all those flags to what side of the end zone? The end zone that said the word Patriots. And what does he do? He slams the ball right down the Patriot. Not the way you do in a touchdown. It was an aggressive one because you have the flags there and everybody's jumping up and down. No, that was straight dominance is what that was.
All right, we are out of time, so let's go ahead and jump into rants here. If you have not done so yet, please smash that thumbs up. Wilson's Chick, or Wilson Chic, says, to CannCon, you mentioned Kid Rock's age the other day. I'm older, and this would be me if a burglar raided my house. Just saying, don't underestimate the dogs. And this is that video.
Motherfucker, what's up? Motherfucker, what's up? What's up, motherfucker? You're getting it. You're getting it. I'm getting closer. What's up, motherfucker?
I concur with that. That would be me.
I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer.
Butt ass naked, running out in the snow, barefoot, running on the ice.
Give make that guy. He needs to be a cop, bro. He needs to be a cop.
Oh man. Okay, Boo Boo Afu. While I side more with Alpha, Brian is correct. Alpha was on a 30-minute rant instead of the news. I'm also correct in that the Constitution is on my side. Morally and personally, I'm with Alpha, but constitutionally, I am not. Rebel Heart 20, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that on Sit Rep tonight, where we don't have any agenda like news. So Rebel Heart 29, oh my, Alpha and Brian, your discussion of firearms, civil and criminal. I had to come inside from my farm chores to rant. I can't wait for Nashville and the trial by jury by Lysander Spooner. Epic. Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. I'm just kind of the voice that's listening in the background, but Ash and John Drake are doing some big things with that. It's going to be awesome. Bobu Wafu, yes, but is anyone talking about the horrific shit in the Epstein files that were released? Yeah.
Yeah, everybody is.
Yeah, everybody. And Huck Fillery, pledge Matt, good job, fellas. Incorrect. I did say 100% on this show, but I said I agree with that 100%, and I did actually mean it. So it wasn't like, I mean, I always mean it, but it was like, it wasn't just me saying 100%. I was using it in a sentence, and I said 100%. But again,
only a Sith deals in absolutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Stay tuned. We do have Sit Rep coming up tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Smash that thumbs up if you have not done so already. A little over 3,500 watching. We've got Daily Herald coming up here in about an hour. What else we got coming up today? Rug poll after us at 9 p.m. Eastern. And just stay tuned to Badlands. Turn it all on. And what's up?
I said, just let it run.
Yeah. What do you got coming up?
Sit Rep, and then episode 1. We did the premiere last week. Overwatch and The Guardian. Me and Josh. Very fun show.
Overwatch and The Guardian, like the Coast Guard movie.
No, not the Coast Guard. No, it's has kind of a Marvel superhero theme to it. It's fun. It's a fun show.
Oh, I thought you were like doing a show on Overwatch, the movie.
No. The show itself is called Overwatch and The Guardian.
Oh, okay. Benny Swartz, last minute rant, says X22 featured you last night, 55-minute mark. I don't know which one you're talking about, me or Alpha, but
probably you. I don't think I've done anything else. Probably.
Oh, Jessica Storm, POTUS announcement at 1:30-ish on Badlands. So stay tuned for that as well. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Again, stay tuned. You got a couple shows coming up here. Daily Herald at 1, and then the special coverage at 1:30. So President Trump's typically late. So watch Daily Herald first and then switch over. So we'll see you guys later. God bless.
Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. And a special thank you to all of our advertising partners. Please remember to shift your dollars to support those businesses that support Badlands Media.